Hey everyone, Dev here and back with another Fail of the Week video. Although to be honest, Fail of the Week doesn't really fit in this particular case because it's a bit unfair on the opposition. Now, I'm all in favour of being a good sport. However, there was one serious error that this clan made that ended up costing them in the end. Now, you can see that we walked away with this with a 1-star victory and they had 0.75% more destruction than us. So a tie would have won the war for them. Viewing the map, let's take a look. They left 2 stars on Devastator, 1 on Arrow, and then all the way down here towards the bottom, bottom, we've got Little Rock with 1 star. Let's take a look at his base. Little Rock in name, and taking, it's a very young, I would say, very young Town Hall 9, certainly probably no stronger than a Town Hall 8. So there was plenty of firepower these people had in their arsenal to try and take out Little Rock. Just taking a look here, everything's all cleared. Their tactics were quite interesting. What we saw was they started by, in fact, if we go to the war events, we can see, just scrolling down here, that they sort of started in the midfield, and then you can see they've gone high. Now this guy here, Paul, there's at least 4 accounts in this war. 1, 3, 4, and 18 are all Paul or Paulie variants. So we were speculating it was one person, and you can see that very early on in the war for them, they went high, and they did a great job in clearing us out. However, what that meant was the midfield ended up going quite low. So you can see here, number 5 going for 12, for example. Number 2 dipping down to 7, 15, 17, etc. 10 dipping to Omega, but Omega held them up. So Vanessa then took out Omega, 5 dipping to 9. So you can see here some dip attacks being used. But perhaps the dippiest attack of them all were the ones that you can see here. Number 7 going for the 3rd greedy star on Arrow there when there was still 1 waiting on Little Rock to be taken out. Same thing with 13 perhaps. There were 16, maybe it was a bit of a stretch, but certainly it was this one right here, number 7, that really should have gone for Little Rock, especially when you've got 2 3/4 hours left on the clock. So let's see some clips. All right, so what we'll do is we'll take a look at the first attack that was on Arrow. Again, calling this a failure is a bit harsh. This person was unlucky. You can see here Town Hall 10, no Infernos though. Going in with Golems and Wizards, clear a funnel for the Valks. First up, the Wall Breakers went for the wrong section, it seems, because the second wave of Wall Breakers comes along and makes the breach there. So again, good deployment on the Golems. Wizard done a great job in making a funnel, and the timing of the Valks was pretty good, I'd have to say. A jump spell, which if we pause and zoom in, you can see accesses all the critical compartments. So clearly this person is not a scrub. He knows what's going on. All right, and in with the heals, CC troops come out, poison straight away. Tesla farm gets dealt with pretty quickly. That baby dragon, though, is the one that is doing the most damage, perhaps a bit premature on the poison. It ends up being taken out by the poison after the Valks lead the baby dragon through it, as you can see. So even though we've got the heal there, it's probably in vain. This person's running out of Valks. Golem using that jump quite well. So it's not all bad for Paul here, but unfortunately for him, what's going to happen is without those Valks carving through those walls, his troops are going to get hung up, they're going to get snagged. The King and the Queen are going to do their job inside and out respectively, but again, those walls are a bit too strong and they are going to end up stalling. So we'll speed up. There's a couple of Wizards and Archers left in the tank and a heal spell, which he's going to use to clean up the chaff that his King and Queen can't quite get to. So you can see here, good deployment there. Waiting until that cannon was engaged on the King, and then now that Wizard can sneak up on that cannon. So clearly Paul knows what he's doing, but he would probably consider himself unlucky that he only got 2 stars here. All right, so credit where credit's due. It was a good-looking attack. Unfortunately for him, he's going to pop the Queen ability there. Okay, unfortunately for him, just not enough puff. There we go. All right, so using up all the time, 94% for Paul there. Right, so how was it looking? Well, with about 2 hours to go, it was looking pretty tight. We were behind, and I needed to step up as Dev to really nail the top down, try to get 3 stars on number 2, and trying to get at least 2 stars on number 1. And this is what ended up happening. Oh, you've probably already seen it anyway, so no surprises. So I'm using my traditional bowler army here, and this is where I suppose the real fail of the week happens. I didn't take any hog riders because this is my standard raid army. So I was a bit overconfident here. Looking at the CC radius, you could see I was planning that the giants would come in through here, get past into this part, and then start to engage the defenses after triggering the CC. But I should have taken a hog because that is not the case. The rest of the raid I'll comment on as it unfolds. Right, so I was hoping the giants would go a little bit closer of that line, but it turns out I got fooled, and I really needed to think fast here, so I had to deploy some wall breakers. And managed to get across the line, trigger off those CC troops, and then start the queen walk on that archer tower. All right, and everything else from here was pretty much as planned. Poison, and then only 1 poison because, of course, I'm taking a rage in the CC now. Queen's at 45, she's strong enough to deal with those troops anyway. And then she engages the king. Over here, it was necessary for me to start clearing out a path, taking out these defensive structures, hoping to grab that as well. It didn't quite happen, so the bowlers wouldn't be pulled off course as I made them a jump path to core dive into that town hall. So my Pekka's gone as a meat shield, and the wizards have cleaned up some buildings, but not enough, and it was now go time for me. It was sink or swim, off we go. And what ended up happening here was the bowlers drifted a little bit, but they did use their double attack to good effect, and most went into the core. A few went round the outside, which was okay-ish, and you can see here that once my troops were in the core, cat amongst the pigeons, freezing off that second inferno, using the warden's ability, and really just going to town with those extra jumps. Now the queen, for her part, is going still clockwise around. She's going to last all the way to the end of this battle. The bowlers over here, later, the bowlers, they've gone, thanks upgrade, and now we're just down to the golems and the warden, and I've got a couple of archers and some wall breakers left. A few wizards up the top there, so away we go. I'll speed this up. The queen, quite strong, obviously, max queen, and then those wall breakers breached, so she got inside, which was great. We really needed her to get on the inside track here. So from here, that was probably my mistake, getting the queen in on the inside track, as you're about to see. She could have shot over the walls and destroyed everything that she needed to, except for that expo, which could have been handled by the warden anyway. No wizards left, and 1 building left, time ticking away. This is not the first time you've seen me do this. Another 99% 2-star. Robbed, I tell you. Robbed! Nah, turns out, again, that CC draw was what actually cost me the time. So from here, scores were locked up, and we really needed, really needed Paulie to not get 2 on this attack on me. And so here we go. Here's my war base, trying the old queen walk here. And what happens in the end? Again, and Max Queen does a great job in clearing a bit of a funnel. His rage was all good. Wizard, of course, not in range of the cannon, so no heat there. Now we're starting to get a little bit of the heat. Oh, look, there's some wall breakers that didn't make a breach. That's a bit awkward. So he's going to try and make a breach on this side, which he does successfully. Queen's going to take a step inside, and what you can see is he's going to lining up for his bowlers. So he's made a jump path, but the problem is the bowlers now went for that elixir storage rather than the wizard tower, and the rest of his bowlers were deployed in the wrong position as well. And this is the depressing thing. His bowlers are now going to pretend they're Valks and go round the outside, round the outside. He's tried in vain to get some bowlers in via that rage, and to an extent he gets one. The rest of the meat goes in, triggers all my bombs. Looking at that town hall, my CC troops with the minions and the baby dragon come out, and they're just laying into all of those. Now see, they follow the healers rather than the queen. Some minions trying to attack the queen, some poison goes down, baby dragon engaging the queen, bowlers still going around the outside. Look at those minions they're following. Queen has met her death at the hands of the other queen, and now again the bowler's going around the outside. He's picked up his star for destruction already, getting over that 50% mark, but there's no way those bowlers are going to make it back into the core for the town hall, and he's running out of time as well. So unfortunately for Paul here, he was only going to get 1 star, but a high percentage, and that's the key. If he had got another star, or that person went for Little Rock, their clan wouldn't have lost this war. Now my minions are cleaning up those bowlers, so I'll speed up to completion. So it was one of those wars that was real tight, and we needed a slip up to help us out, and that's what we got. And from there, okay, Uro did a great job. He ended up then taking 2 stars off number 4. I'll show you that base. Pretty standard stuff from Uro, no disrespect to him. I'm running out of time on this clip. You can see that his Valks would have accounted for that one quite handily. So up steps Dev, and the situation was needing only 1 star. Only 1 star required, and that's exactly what I got. Look at this base. We stared at this for ages. We had 3 scouts on it. Very easy CC draw, and from here the job was clear a flank and try to clear some key buildings here and get the bowlers coming in from a corner. Now that is tricky. Bowlers prefer to come in from a flat edge rather than a corner. As you saw in that previous video, they do have a tendency to slide outside the walls and go one way when you really want them to go into the core. So I had to be really careful on this one. This attack was made with about 5 minutes left on the clock as well, me using all available time in the war. I don't know why I do that, I just put more pressure on myself. Okay, here comes the 2x speed, and here's the poison to deal with the balloons, and then the queen and the healers start their walk. She's quite strong, obviously. That rage helps her out, and she gets all that heat taken out of her. She manages to reach across and just ping off those buildings. Leaving that builder hut there was actually a good thing. That was designed to try and help get those bowlers locked on to that core. Then I deploy my golem, and by this time my troop count is probably enough to start triggering that eagle artillery. So that's why I deployed the golem, the extra golem. I changed my war armory, of course, on that flank there, because I used the smaller golem. I wanted to draw the fire. 1 wizard to each building, not a big clump. Again, these key buildings needed to be taken out so the bowlers didn't end up sliding down one particular side. So you can see here that that archer tower was the key one. That one needed to drop, and it did, which is great. There's my jump path. And now the eagle artillery is locking onto that first golem. That second golem comes in. The king behind with the warden and the bowlers. Are they going to go the right way? Rage them at the right time? Yes, they're going in. Breathe a sigh of relief for now, but the hard job is getting that town hall. So again, some bowlers split off, as you can see, some did not. Using the freeze, I tried to get the Inferno, it wasn't successful. Right now I'm packing my decks thinking, I've muffed it up. But under rage, those bowlers with the Grand Warden pop the ability so they don't die off right here, and then pop the King ability, chew his way through that wall, and we are done. Yes, so it's in. Queen ended up dying due to the sweeper pushing everything away, and obviously had no ability left on her. And the Warden, he's under the fire from the Inferno and the Expo, so no help there from the healers. By this time, though, the star was there. I was trying for a swag second on the destruction, but that didn't end up happening either because everything else was pretty much locked down. So I ended up getting a, I'd say, rather respectable 1 star in that clutch situation, getting our clan across the line, even though the destruction wasn't quite that high. There we go, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm running out of time. Love to talk about this one some more, but in the end, it was loose play that cost these guys the war. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Dev out.